NBA trade deadline, less. And the Bucks have made it clear Giannis will remain on this roster through the deadline into the summer in the hopes that they can still build a contender.
Yeah, so Shams was saying earlier that, after they decided they were going to not trade Giannis, they went to look to see if they could improve the roster between now and 3, and they haven't been able to do that, which I get because they don't have really draft picks to trade and they don't have expiring salary to trade. And so now, where do you go from here? You have a team that when Giannis doesn't play is frankly one of the worst teams in the league, and when he does play is 500. And what you really need is your draft pick to improve. So I don't know how you're going to negotiate this with Giannis, but if you've made the decision not to trade for him and your reasoning is that you think you can get good enough through the offseason to get better, the only way forward is to tank the rest of the season, and you can't take when Giannis plays. When Giannis doesn't play, tanking happens easily. When he does play, you're 500. This is going to be elementary.
Wendy, I have a question on that. Has Giannis told them that if you don't move me now at the deadline, I want to be moved this summer?
I don't think he's been clear about anything, which is part of the problem and why we're in this stalemate situation.
But how did we get to this point? When I say this point, meaning how did they even start, accepting calls on him? He had to say something. He had to open the door some kind of way.
Well, if he opened the door, they opened the one thing is, if you're a franchise owner or you're a president of a team, at the end of the day, you can complain all day, coach. I don't want to be coaching this team, but if I want you to coach this team, you're going to go honor this contract until I'm ready to do it. And so at the end of the day, the Milwaukee Bucks still will have to make the decision.
That is true until this summer, right? Because Giannis has the ultimate quiet all the answers card. The ultimate, I want to stay in Milwaukee. The ultimate, I'm going to shut down all of this speculation conversation and put 10 toes down on exactly what I've been hinting and saying and telling The Athletic and telling the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and that is signing a contract extension, because he becomes an expiring contract, and are the Milwaukee Bucks going to say bok bok?
No, that's still your card. You're like, he's an expiring contract that won't sign a remaining an extension. So now that's why I'm going to trade you. But if you sign this extension, I'm going to keep you. So it's a simple thing. You could balk all you want. And this is not a dating relationship. It's not like, oh, you get to leave. Right. No, you got to come to work. And when Giannis comes to work, he is going to perform.
Or he can be deactivated.
And that's crazy. To be honest, if I was any one of those other guys on the roster, I can't wait for this season to be over with. People don't realize how hard it is to be in a situation like this. Like, you want to walk into a work environment where you're somewhat happy, right?
I'm happy every day I walk into work.
Every single day. Feelings are mutual, but this is what I'm saying. Every single day that they're going into that practice facility, that game arena, it is a dark cloud over that organization. They're miserable. Sometimes some of them guys probably walk in, put their fingerprints in the thing, and hope it don't work. You know what I'm saying? Real talk. People don't understand the stress level.
Well, people at home, when he says fingerprints, he means to get into an NBA locker room, it's actually fingerprint activated.
Yeah, sometimes key cards, sometimes fingerprints, sometimes
for clarity, so everyone else
Brian,
understands
can you explain, though, the crossroad? Because the Milwaukee Bucks, if this wasn't the crossroads, right, which we all sort of felt like, okay, this was the first, they are going to come to a hard and fast stop sign in the summer. What is that?
Yeah, so this fall, but he can let anybody know at any time. He could say today, this fall, he has
any
the option.
Naysayers?
He has the option to extend his contract 4 years, $270 million. And for a player in his 30s with some history of recent injury, $270 million is nothing to laugh at. Like, that is a reasonable thing.
I'm not laughing.
It's not even without injuries.
I'm not laughing.
So that's that's a thing. And really this comes down to, are you signing it or not? If you're signing it, then let's go, buddy. Like, start laying the foundation for the statue. We're never trading you. Let's go. If you don't sign it, they have to trade him. It's just elementary. It's really not that complicated. It's just elementary. But Giannis won't give that simple clarity. He hasn't done it, and so that has allowed the Bucks to do what's best for them. And what's best for them is to make this decision in the summer. The trade options are better in the summer.
But hold on, first, deactivate Giannis.
Well, Perk, Giannis is hurt. He is hurt right now. He is on the injury list. And I'm telling you, I know that Giannis said he was out 4 to 6 weeks. Doc Rivers said no timeline. That was not an accident.
Doc Rivers also said that he's progressing.
Good for him.
Well,
I hope he feels great.
all of that smoke, all of that, some fires that have popped up earlier this week, it's all settling down into this. We're 1 minute away from the 2026 NBA trade deadline. It's been a little bit of a funky deadline here, but what seems very, very clear is unless there's some haymaker that's thrown in the next 45 seconds.
Sometimes they come in after.
Sometimes they do. That Ja Morant is going to remain with the Memphis Grizzlies, that Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to remain with the Milwaukee Bucks. That feels, Kenny, like where we're settling into.
Yeah, it is surprising in Memphis because if Jaren Jackson was able to be moved, that the writing is that this team is in a full rebuild, because as good as Ja Morant has been and will be, pairing him with Jaren Jackson was part of the success. So now you get rid of the success, you think the other domino would be him. And if it's not now, there would be a time that happened. I'm not sure, because they didn't bring an asset in to say, hey, this actually pairs with Ja to maybe have us be a contender.
And they traded Bain last year, got a bunch of picks. They traded Jackson for a bunch of picks.
Coach.
So naturally, Morant's the next guy to get more young
Coach, did you
picks.
feel that? Did you feel that?
It's over?
We just crossed the NBA trade deadline. You're first over on this side. How's it feel?
I made it. I made it.
Wait, just then. Just then. Coach is traded to CNN.
I'm out.
Coach has made it through his first NBA trade deadline. And what a strange trade deadline that was. Should we talk about the moves that actually did happen?
Yes.
Let's do it. Let's rock and roll. Because the Cavaliers, they made maybe the biggest splash that we saw. They acquired a top 10 all-time scorer in James Harden. So, Coach, Donovan Mitchell said that this gives the Cavs a higher ceiling. How do you feel about their chances to break through?
Oh, I couldn't agree more with Donovan Mitchell. He's got to be excited beyond all hell to add a guy like Big James, a guy that's been there and done that. All the fans in Cleveland are really excited about this acquisition.
Well, in exchange, the Los Angeles Clippers, they got back a two-time All-Star in Darius Garland. We know they also moved on from Ivica Zubac, but Kawhi Leonard still with the Clippers. So how do you read their side of these tea leaves, Brian?
Well, they just made quite a turnaround in 3 days here because they just got younger. They got Ben Mathurin, they got Darius Garland, and after really not having any draft picks going forward, they picked up 2 picks, including a pick that could be in the high lottery of this year's draft. They did one of the most inventive trades. We'll get to it later. They just did one of the most inventive trades we've ever seen on draft day for a lottery pick in that Zubac deal. They have turned over their future with the last couple deals.
Another future Hall of Famer moved on Wednesday. Anthony Davis off to join Trae Young in D.C. So, Kenny, this seems like it was a move for the future, but do you agree with Janae that they're out of their sort of swill, their sunken place?
Well, I have friends in the Washington, D.C. area that have never been to a basketball game. They will now at least go to a tent to see an NBA basketball game with 2 marquee players and see if they can compete in an actual regular season game.
All right. Well, the Washington Wizards are looking up, even if it is a future deferred. And that brings us, of course, to Golden State. Kendrick Perkins, Jonathan Kuminga. We've said his name so many times over the last couple of months. We will now be saying it as a member of the Hawks. Kristaps Porzingis comes back to the Bay in return. Do you think that this is a piece for Steph to compete this year, at least in the play-in?
Hell no.
Pajamas.
Pajamas. But no, I mean, look, I'm glad that Kuminga is finally gone, so we don't have to talk about that situation anymore. Before as Porzingis moving the needle, I just don't see it. He hasn't really played since he won the championship with the Celtics. I don't think Steph is just too thrilled about this move.
All right.
Draymond is, though, because he ain't got to worry about being.
Yeah, Draymond Green still on the Golden State Warriors past the trade deadline. I feel like we all just need to take one big, like, the trade deadline came and went.
I wasn't under pressure. I don't have to take.
Not so much pressure, Kenny.
No pressure.
Did you feel it was a weird trade deadline?
No, honestly, because the things that were happening were building up for months.
Yeah.
It was like boiling water. It wasn't like we just put our finger in it and it was hot. It was like, no, this is boiling and starting to see.
Yeah.
You see these last year. You see these trends happening. And then the other players, other than Giannis, the bigger name players, other than Morant, a lot of those guys are happy because they're now getting a chance to go to contenders or teams that they can make a big impact in.
Yep.
So we said his name earlier because he's a New Yorker. A guy like Jose Alvarado, his excitement to go to New York, that to me is exciting.
Right.
Because here he was in New Orleans, where he doesn't have an opportunity.
Excellent for
No, we watch you a little bit. We're noticing what you do.
Yeah.
But when you're in the mecca of basketball now, and you're trying to contend for a championship, your 8 points matter. Your 10 points matter. So now I'm happy for guys. So instead of being relieved, I think that some teams are really saying we're trying to go for it.
We're in different times right now. Like, franchise players are not franchise players anymore, if that makes sense. I mean, think
What do you mean by that?
Because think about over the last 2 seasons what we've witnessed as far as guys being moved. Like, yeah, we was all ready to see if Giannis and Ja was going to get moved, but over the past 2 years, we didn't have Luka get traded, Anthony Davis
Twice.
Trae Young. Like, we're seeing KD. Like, we're in different times now. Where it's like the franchise guys, when I came in the league in 03, you knew that those guys were going to be the untouchable. It's
Even hearing about Draymond.
Yeah, the only one who was sitting in the locker room worried about being traded was Perk and myself. Akeem Olajuwon was sitting with a cup of coffee and a donut.
He said, "I'm
trade
Kenny
deadline."
says it's not. It was the boiling. We're now going to be simmering till summer because there's a lot of unfinished business that didn't get done. You go around the league. Everybody on the Heat knows that they were potentially offered in deals. What happens if they have an early exit? A bunch of people in Minnesota know they were offered in deals. What happens if they have an early exit? Obviously, the Cavs have gone all in and shown their willingness to break up their core. What happens if they have an early exit? You will see a revisiting of the Giannis situation in the summer. We know that the Clippers are now in the middle of a controlled teardown. I don't want to use the word rebuild, whatever. They're doing that.
James Harden used it.
What about Kawhi Leonard? Well, you know, and then you look at Domantas Sabonis. He was fleeing floated. They couldn't do a deal for him. Now, none of that mentions Ja Morant. So what if the Knicks decided to keep their team together and not go after Giannis? What happens if they don't reach the finals
Right.
and do this? So in all honesty, I think while we did not have a super aggressive trade deadline, I think what's happened is we've laid the foundation for a wild summer.
No, a lot of teams got better. And
Let me ask you a question. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
Jurassic Perk, your team up in Toronto. You've been hiring them all year long. Right now, 6th in the East. Are you surprised? I know they got Trace Jackson-Davis as a big, with Jakob Poeltl being out with a back injury. But were you surprised they didn't add anything, as most teams in the East made moves that are above them to try to make a move to an Eastern Conference Final?
I am surprised. I thought that they were going to be the team that was actually going to try to go pursue and go get Anthony Davis, to be honest with you. I think that they're still missing that guy. Like, I'm not disrespecting Scotty Barnes. I just don't. He's one of my favorites. He's not an offensive threat that's going to get you to the promised land. Brandon Ingram is a second option offensive threat that could help a back.
You want to know why they didn't get him?
Why?
Because Dallas only wanted expiring salary. Now, that's where Anthony Davis was. They just wanted to get off of the money and a couple of picks. The Raptors had the picks, but they didn't have a way to get off the money.
It seems like the theme of this trade deadline was deadline deferred. It seems like we're going to be having a lot of these same conversations as we march towards the summer. And it was also a little bit strange because the best players, save for maybe James Harden, that were moved at this deadline, Jaren Jackson Jr., Ivica Zubac, Anthony Davis, those are all not necessarily moves for this year. They're all moves for next year.
But I have a question for Coach. Because we all hear what players go through during the trade deadline. When you're on the coaching staff, are you in the general manager meetings and you know what was going on, and then you go back and you coaching a guy that you know that you actually possibly lobbied for to get traded? Like, as those things happen?
Oh, of course. And depending
And
upon the
who did you-
GM,
no, just kidding.
depending upon the GM, I was in the meetings. Other guys, maybe I wasn't in the meeting. You can read into that what you want.
I know,
but
listen, I don't read, but I hear you.
The type is pretty big.
But I tell you what, it's hard because you have these meetings with the front office. We're always trying to get better. I think you owe it to yourself to find ways to get better. But you also have relationships with your players.
Right.
And you care about these guys. And so, very awkward. One time we were in a shoot-around in Orlando. And I went into shoot-around with the message being, we're not making any moves. And we're in the middle of shoot-around, walk through, it's quiet, and all of a sudden everybody's phone starts going, bzz, 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 and they're all looking around. Coach comes over, whispers in my ear, hey, we just traded so-and-so. So now you got to stop shoot-around and say, hey, Because that's what people think trade deadline's like a moratorium.
Yeah.
There are practices today. There are games today.
Yeah.
There are flights. So you have those awkward encounters, but the only way you can address it is to be honest and
How about
deal with
Zubats? Ivica Zubats and his wife had a baby 2 days ago.
Yeah.
You just got traded to Indiana.
And people don't realize the effect that have like as fans we have fun because we want to see it's entertaining and guys going to different organizations. But as a person that was traded, like especially as a young player from Boston, no one could have ever told me that I wasn't going to retire as a Celtic. I didn't even know I was getting traded. Right, I woke up.
I would have told you that.
No, you would have told me. Man, you know what it took? And guess what? That was
I'd be like,
the worst.
man, illusion of grandeur.
Hey, the probably was the worst decision they ever made because Paul Pierce and KG never got back to the final.
Okay,
but
say less.
Here's another thing, though. This is what I'm looking at for as this trade deadline. They have a lot of teams that are on the clock. The Cavs, the Knicks. I wouldn't say the Pistons because they still young.
Yeah, they got some time.
Minnesota, like a lot of these, Denver, a lot of teams are on the clock. And with their franchise, quote-unquote franchise guys, I'm looking at Orlando down there as well with Paolo Banchero. He hasn't really took that leap like we thought he was going to take this year, right? They wasn't really aggressive with, like, for us making moves. Yeah, they got Desmond Bain in the offseason, but they didn't really do too much this trade deadline. So, again, it's a lot of teams that are on the clock to make some noise at the second part and in the postseason.
Yeah, it feels like it has been a strange line has come and gone. Let's check in on a couple of teams that made some deals, starting with the Golden State Warriors, as we say hello once again to our Anthony Slater. Slater, Kristaps Porzingis, now a member of the Warriors. Jonathan Kuminga is out. What do you make of the Warriors trade deadline?
Yeah, it's a small swing. I don't think it's going to have anybody on your panel, leaping to proclaim them suddenly in the title conversation. But having talked to Steve Kerr today at Shoot Around, they got Porzingis under the assumption that he's going to be healthy soon and he's going to help soon. It'll probably put a lot on their medical guy, Rick Celebrini, to kind of keep Kristaps Porzingis healthy. But if he is there, he is a guy that dating back to when Boston had him and people were going to have to get off Porzingis. That's a guy they targeted, thinking that him as a stretch, 5 who can rim protect would be perfect next to Draymond Green. And they hope in the next few months that could maybe blossom a little bit and maybe there's a longer-term future with Porzingis. But also he's expiring. They could theoretically just get off his money this summer.
Okay, so this is a high ceiling but low risk move for the Golden State Warriors. Slater, thank you very much for that insight. Anyone didn't want to prove Slater wrong? Anyone going to jump up out of their seat and proclaim no? Anyone?
I thought your name might jump, but listen, I talked just because she has on some great shoes today.
When's the last time you jumped?
I talked to Porzingis a couple weeks ago when he was here through LA with the Hawks. He had a little calf thing, they call it an Achilles thing, but he's fine. Like he's had this. He said it was POTS, right? I think the Warriors are going to be doing their own evaluation of that. They are very comfortable, from what I understand, with his health situation. I don't think they're worried about his calf. I don't think they're worried about the situation with what he described as POTS, but I think they're going to do a whole different evaluation to see if that's really what's going on with him. And I think they're very confident that he's going to play right away.
And in the Bay Area, this. They've been screaming for a center there for years.
The entire Steph tenure.
Somebody who could shoot from outside. Somebody who could rim protect. Somebody who could rebound.
Yeah.
I like it if he's healthy, and they don't seem worried about the POTS thing. So I think that it could be a sneaky pick.
If that's what it is.
Yeah, but you said like. You didn't say you love it. You know what I mean?
Perk wanting to propose.
No, but
I think that's what they needed. That.
Yeah,
that's a big missing piece.
But here's what I'm saying. Does it put them where they need to be when you're talking about a Steph Curry that is aging but still putting up MVP type numbers?
Jimmy ain't there.
It's a starting point, but when you go, just imagine how Steph feeling right now. In his mind, over the last probably week and a half, he's been dreaming about Giannis. And then all of a sudden, you make a move and you get Kristaps.
Giannis actually came to his party.
But let's be real here, Perk. The only miracle to save the Golden State Warriors and Steph trying to pursue a championship quickly, microwavable, is Giannis. But that was difficult, and it's off the table. And if you're not going to get a Giannis, getting a piece that puts them in the right direction, hopefully healthy, he fits their system extremely well when he's on the floor.
Let me give you a little what if. A couple weeks ago, the Warriors had some pretty extensive conversations with the Memphis Grizzlies about Jaren Jackson Jr.
Interesting.
They tabled those conversations, because I think the Warriors were talking about 2 first-round picks. It would have been a similar type deal to what Utah did. But then Giannis was maybe available. And so they tabled those conversations because they needed those picks in the Giannis trade. And then Utah came in with 3 first-round picks. And so they come out the end here with Kristaps Porzingis. But look, he's $34 million this year, expiring contract. This man is playing to prove he's healthy. He's playing to prove he has a spot in the NBA next year, that he can be healthy, that he can be a contributor. That's a pretty low-risk move for a guy who, at least analytically, has incredible metrics.
And credit to the Warriors, right? They're doing what they're supposed to do. When you have a guy that's been that loyal, you're talking about a top 10 greatest player of all time in Steph Curry, that's playing at an elite level, right? You always want to give him some type of hope. So you had to make some type of move.
Yeah.
Again, all I'm saying is that it should be more to come, right? Because we don't know what Jimmy Butler is going to look like when he returned from the ACL injury. Obviously, you're looking at Draymond. Now, we're talking about, like, you know, Ja Morant's situation and teams not really giving up. You're like, Draymond value ain't there either. You know what I mean? Let's keep it real now. Draymond value ain't just, you know, it ain't just peaches and cream tossing out that contract out there.
Well, and the Golden State Warriors, they've said that February 9th is going to be the day for Jimmy Butler to have his ACL surgery. So February 9th.
They got 2 motivated guys out there is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, so February 9th is when he is going to have his surgery. So the Warriors are still trying to find their space, right, within what the Western Conference is going to look like. Perk, we can tell. We can feel the vibes all the way from over there. The well wishes are received from here to the Bay Area. I'm wondering if you'll extend those same well wishes to the bottom of the Western Conference, because a team that didn't make a move, that doesn't control their pick, the New Orleans Pelicans.
Oh, goodness.
Why didn't they move and shake ahead of this deadline?
I talked to Joe Dumars in D.C. about 3 weeks ago, and he told me all these rumors you're hearing, Zion or Trey or, you know, whomever, don't believe him. I'm not doing anything. And I'm like, well, why not? And I think he's still in the mode of, I just got here. I'm trying to figure out what I have. You know, part of the reason why they made the trade with Alvarado today was to open up a roster spot for DeJounte Murray, who's going to be back soon. Certainly, if he's healthy, is a huge boost. And Alvarado was going to be a free agent, so they didn't want to lose him for nothing.
Improve from within.
But I think Joe, he wants to, like, sip that chicory coffee a little more and eat some beignets and get used to it before, I think, this summer. I expect him to do some things this summer.
I'm going to say this. You know, I talk with Troy Weaver a lot. Him and Joe Dumars, they have confidence in this group.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, we got to understand, they just fired their head coach this year in Willie Green. So guys are now finding their way, right? You got,
They're competitive.
Yeah, they're competitive.
What did Trey Murphy just drop?
Yeah, right. But and also the bright spot over the last month that's been flying under the radar has been Zion.
Over the last month.
He went from starting, then he went to coming off the bench. Now he's back in the starting lineup. And you talk about a guy that's been playing with happiness, the guy that's been playing with force, putting up numbers. He's found his way in New Orleans. So they're trending in the right direction.
You're looking at me because I'm the only way I can think optimistically about this situation is sometimes
be careful now, New Orleans.
I know I'm about to be in Baton Rouge for Women's College Game Day, okay? Right?
Where my family from.
Sometimes doing nothing is doing something.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of volatility and just staying calm and assessing the situation. Trey Murphy, Zion, Derek Queen, there's some good there. Mm-hmm. So I don't think this is a place that should be panicking, but the rest of the season will dictate how we look. I think they rebuild and reshape for the years to come.
Because now they're healthy. You've said it.
Yeah.
They're playing better over the course of the last month, but that hasn't changed anything in the standings, right? They're still at the bottom of the Western Conference.
It's a good time to be at the bottom, though.
Right?
It's a good time to be at the bottom.
All right. Well, they're at the bottom of the West. Okay. How about the top of the Western Conference? We knew it was going to be lightning and thunder. The San Antonio Spurs have hung tough there at the top of the West, and the Denver Nuggets contending with some injuries, but still rocking and rolling. So we thought, what'd you ask?
I asked, can you see the board? Even if I turn sideways?
We see the work you're putting in, Perk, suiting and booting. 24 seconds on the clock. Kenny's back and joining us for this. Kenny, would you like to do the honors and spin the wheel?
Okay.
Whatever it lands on.
Let's go, Kenny.
We're going to assess the West.
Okay. The West.
Yep, this is the West.
All right.
Put a little heat on that thing.
Oh,
I don't like chance.
So we were trying to tip the scales for the Nuggets.
I think the Nuggets are right where they want to be. You know, when Jokic is, the biggest thing is making sure that Jokic is healthy. You have shooting around him. Jamal Murray being at his best right now, making his first All-Star appearance. This team is prime time, and so now anyone else can spin. I don't like chance.
Denver made 0 moves ahead of the deadline. DG, you want to show the OG how it's done?
It's a veteran move right there.
In the wheel.
Perk going to be calling me out on TV. Let's see what we got here in the West.
Oh, Mavericks.
Yeah, why not? I mean, I like what Dallas have done. I mean, they traded AD. They're making some moves. They're trying to start over. Where they go from here? Who knows? I mean, Kyrie might be next. Clay might be next. But
Cooper Flag is where they go.
For sure, but what they do with the other older pieces. But I like what they've done thus far. They've made some really good moves, making some noise, kind of starting over, starting fresh.
Kind of.
Yeah, they are. They are. You need a good pick in the draft. So with another good pick in the draft with Cooper Flag, they have some bright futures ahead.
And see, this is what he does. Shooters shoot. Chinenye.
Okay, I'm like, do I want to create my own destiny or should I give it a wheel?
There you go. Give it a spin. Why not?
Because, I really want to, let's see.
Utah made some good stuff, though.
I'm excited about the Utah Jazz. Producer Candace, big smile on your face. Jaren Jackson Jr. is the type of big because when we think about the West, who's out there? Victor Wembanyama. You've got Rudy Gobert. You've got Nikola Jokic. So many bigs. This is a good step. And Keontae George has been one of the most fun players to watch.
Amen.
The start of this season. No longer is it just like under the radar.
Yeah.
They are absolutely conducting a symphony with their moves so far.
Symphony Jazz. I see how you put that. See how you put that together.
Still going.
Feels like Perk is going to have one that we've already did.
I feel like Perk's going to...
Ooh,
I like this.
Okay.
We haven't talked about them.
Yeah,
well, let's talk about them. Look, first-time All-Star, and my guy Denny. You know, I ain't worked on the last night.
Avdia.
Okay, well, you keep it there. But I like the way that they're going. I think, you know, like with all they've been through, especially with their head coach, former head coach Chauncey Billups.
Shout out to Tiago Splitter.
I think Tiago Splitter has stepped in. They got a culture down there. They play extremely hard. And, you know, hey, look, the sky's the limit for them. They got a nice young...
The Chicago Bulls, they traded away Nikola Vucevic, Ayo Dosunmu, Kevin Huerter, and Kobe White. They have acquired Jaden Ivey, Rob Dillingham, Colin Sexton, Anthony Simons. Are you guys sensing a theme here? And a couple of second-round picks as well. The Bulls, they've revamped their roster ahead of this deadline. Arturas clearly has a vision for this team, and I guess the vision is a whole lot of backcourt.
It's a 6'4" and under team.
Small ball.
So I can suit up?
Yeah.
All right, that's it.
My man AK in Chicago. You know what? They've been in the play-in. Right now they're in 10th place. Charlotte is right on them. And I think he's trying to shake things up, getting picks. They don't have any front court. So they obviously have the guard position covered, but they need to get some front court.
Fully covered.
And they have a young wing in Bazulis, who's a good young talent.
All right, so they have 7 guards on their roster, 6, right, that could see significant playing time here. Bobby, can you just make sense of the Bulls' vision? Because I know there are Chicago fans who have questions right now.
Well, I'm not going to tap dance around the set in approval here for what Chicago did. Listen, they turned all their expiring contracts into 9 second-round picks, including one from New Orleans this year, which could be an extension of the first round in 31 or 32. Rob Dillingham, they're going to take a flyer on, right? Former lottery pick. Jaden Ivey, former lottery pick. You're basically taking distressed assets that were with other teams, and you're going to try to shiny them up and see if you can get some value out of them. But as Coach said, there's nobody there for that front court. They picked up Nick Richards, but they've got no size for that Chicago team.
With all due respect, I've got no idea what they're doing. They traded for guys who are free agents. Are they going to sign Jaden Ivey? I assume he's restricted.
Yeah.
I assume they're going to sign him. They traded for Anthony Simons. Are they going to sign him? I don't know. It's a good time to tank, but they're too far away from the big-time tankers, so they can't really get down, and this team isn't built to win short term, unless you think I'm wrong. Do you think they're built to win short term?
No, they're not.
Okay, so if they're not built to win short term and they're not in position to tank, and they traded for a bunch of guards, all of whom can't play, I don't know
Is this
what they're doing.
grooming time for Buzelis, maybe? I don't know. I mean, small ball is the league today. This is
real
another
small.
definition or another tier of small ball. I don't think this is designed to win right now. But you can groom some of those other young pieces maybe, but they might be using these pieces to flip at some point this summer. I don't know, but I'm with Wendy. I'm just as confused as everybody.
I mean, they could, but most of these guys are free agents. They've got cap space in a bad market. As Brian said, it might be too late to tank.
Yeah, they've won too many games.
All right, is there any silver lining here for the Bulls? This feels like conversations we've had over the last couple of years has been decades, maybe. It's been a little doom and gloom.
I don't know how they're going to fit all. I'm looking forward to Billy Donovan's first press conference, to be honest with you, to see what his plan is. I will say this, like literally for years, they didn't acquire draft picks. And so now they acquire draft picks, so that's good. But they didn't get any. There was like 6 or 7 firsts traded this week, and none of them were to Chicago. Look, they're taking action for the last few years. They feel like they hadn't taken action. I still don't know. Action can be confused for direction. I don't think those have gone together yet. Maybe I'm not seeing it, and I'll apologize later.
Confused for direction, Coach. If
Sounds like John Wooden. Don't mistake activity for achievement.
I think that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, there you go, Coach. You said sometimes you're in these meetings, sometimes you're getting the call. You got this call, Coach. Here you go. Here's your roster that you're going to be rolling out for the. You are thinking what?
94 minutes of hell. I'm going to pick up. I'm going to play fast. I'm going to let my guards attack. I think the worst place to be in the NBA is to be 10th place.
Okay.
And that's where Chicago has lived for the last 3 years.
Yes.
So if you can't go from 10th to 5th, 4th, well, let's try to go from 10th to the bottom. And I'm not saying that's what AK's plan is here, but they're going to have a hard time moving from where they're at right now. I mentioned Charlotte right behind them, playing some of the best basketball in the NBA. But, yeah, Billy will have his hands full. My guy Wes Unseld on his staff will have his hands full. But they're together. They're going to make the best of it.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes you pick up 94 feet and just say, we're gonna give some teams hell and see what happens. That seems to be what Chicago is doing. Chicago, just south of
Milwaukee,
which has been controlling this trade deadline here of this week. And now we want to know which one is going to make the bigger impact. The full complement of our staff is here, so let's do it. Starting with James Harden and Darius Garland swapped out for each other. Janae Agumake, who's going to make the bigger impact?
What I will say is, unfortunately, you and I have been on the boat together, right? With the Clippers. The Clipper gonna Clipper. So I'm going with Cleveland Cavaliers getting James Harden to up their odds.
All right.
Yeah, same. James is the system. It's going to take some time, so the impact right now for Harden in Cleveland is a bigger one than Darius. Maybe over time, but the Clippers, they're looking at a sorts right now without
all-time bar. I am the system.
Yeah, it is.
I am the system.
How to play without him.
Are we all going? I mean, is it James all the way around?
You got my vote.
Got vote?
Yep.
Got a vote?
Darius is unfortunately hurt right now.
Yeah,
James is
there
going to
you
play
go.
this weekend.
Yeah,
So,
I'm going
Brian?
to get Darius is hurt.
Yeah, that is true. We do expect
I
to
like
see.
Darius to the Clippers, though.
We do expect to see James
like the
Harden.
music,
Oh.
Maybe even as soon as Saturday.
You pick a side, Kenny.
No, I can't.
Kenny's
Skip a side.
All right, how about Nikola Vucevic or Kristaps Porzingis? You can get with this. So
You can get with that. And I'm going to go with that. Over here. I'm going to go with Kristaps Porzingis because the Warriors have to make a move to extend Steph Curry's prime.
Yep.
They've been waiting for a big man to shoot. That combination, this fits the system. Oh, gosh, now system stuck in my head.
There you go.
I'm going to stick with the Warriors
System
on this
reboot,
one.
Danny.
I'm going to go with Vooch.
Okay.
Boston been playing well this year, and they added some front courts. Like, this helps them. A stretch big. He's kind of a version of Porzingis. Doesn't protect the rim as well, but he can stretch the floor and knock down shots. They needed this type of player in their lineup, so this is a big move for Boston.
I have to go with, remember, there's a guy named Jason Tatum.
You were
So I'm going to say
paying to say
Vucevic
that.
because Vucevic, with Tatum, with Brown, this is a bigger move because this is more consistency for a longer term. This is a short-term answer that may not work.
Okay.
You know, Porzingis has played 17 games this year.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with the guy who's played
available.
games.
Availability is
Is
the best.
Janae going to be hanging out there by herself? Or?
Yeah, you're lonely, girl. You're lonely, girl. I'm going with Vooch. They won a championship with stretch bigs. Missoula ball, full effect.
All right, Missoula
Like,
ball.
this is the higher upside, but you got to be on the flow.
It's a low risk, high reward there, Shanae. How about this? AD, which is still kind of funny to see him in a Wizards uniform. Jaren Jackson Jr. with the Jazz. DG.
I'm going to go with Jaren Jackson Jr., only because, again, Availability is your best ability. Like, you got to be available. I don't know what AD. I love AD when he is available. I got the best version of him when I was in LA. We haven't seen that since.
Okay, flex.
So Jaren Jackson is more available for me.
3 bigs in Utah, Coach?
I'm going with Triple J as well. They have been the worst defensive team, not 1, not 2, but 3 years in a row. You're bringing a former Defensive Player of the Year in Jaren Jackson Jr. Bigger trade right there.
I'm not sure Anthony Davis is going to play for the Wizards this season. So I'm not sure how much Jaren Jackson's going to be allowed to play for the Jazz. They're tanking big time. But I'll go with JJJ.
All right. Anyone going to take the AD side?
I'm taking the AD
Penny?
because
All right.
I have a friend in.
He got friends in D.C.
He's actually buying a ticket. Keenan, you can go to a game, brother. You can go to 1 game now.
And unlike the rest of y'all, I'm not going to leave you hanging, Kenny. I'm just going to go with AD as well.
there you go.
I'm a
Make
real
sure.
one, okay?
Kenny's not hanging by himself. All right. How about Kevin Huerter headed to the Pistons or Jared McCain? Can he get back to that former Rookie of the Year favorite before he got hurt?
I think this is easy for us. We
It's
don't, we don't pick Duke guys like
No,
that.
I'm going with Huerter. I'm going with Huerter
as well.
Well, it's not even because
Wow.
of that, though.
Wow.
I'm going with Huerter because they need him, but they don't have to have him.
Yeah.
They need him.
They need a shooter.
And they need a shooter, and they need someone who can help
2
them.
on 2. Okay, you two next.
No, I'm going the same. They need shooting.
He's like, I am leaving Brian.
Cade Cunningham, great player. He's going to need somebody to throw the ball to. Duncan Robinson, Kevin Huerter, shooting makes up for a multitude of sins.
A.J. Mitchell and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are out for a while. Jared McCain's going to step right in. He's going to get minutes right away. I'm going with Jared McCain.
The Lakers, they need defense. I'm going here.
Welcome to the show, big
I'm
dog.
coming over here. Oh,
I know.
You weren't in this segment.
No. It's not this segment. It's my segment. I know you thought you saw Morris Chestnut.
we didn't.
Damn, I look good in this burgundy and blue. But look, end of the draft. Damn it, you know it's time. It's time for that damn big list. Perk, big, huh?
Deadline. The deadline.
It's time for Big Perks, Big List.
Damn it, it's not your list. It's Big Perk's list. There's actually rules to this, okay? You will speak when spoken to. Give me some energy. Bam. That's it? Bam! 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 Put it up there. It's not your list. It's mine. Hello, world. You know what time it is.
The draft.
I mean, it's not the draft. It's the trade deadline. So it calls for a big list. Kenny, this is your first time.
Let's go, Kenny!
So look, Malika and Tanae, I need y'all to team up.
Okay, we got it, yeah.
You go bring the energy there.
Without question.
One rule. If you don't, you will not be back. You will not be invited back to this.
I'm just asking, is it self-proclaimed Morris Chestnut, or this is somebody?
No, people that told me.
Okay. I didn't know if this was
They've been walking outside.
You can't give yourself a nickname.
Big Perks, big list of the biggest winners of the trade deadline.
Let's get
Malika and Tanae, y'all
1, 2,
starting
3.
off.
Ready? 1,
Put it up
2, 3. Bam!
Put it up there, damn it. Who watched the Wizards? They won.
Okay.
They got Trae Young,
Yeah.
and then they went out and got Anthony Davis. They bringing chocolate back to Chocolate City, damn it.
Preach, baby.
Putting butts in the seats. And it's a next year play. We're talking about a duo, one of the best assist guys in Trae Young, live threat with AD. That duo is going to be fantastic. They're going to be in the playoff hunt.
Not Chocolate City.
Wendy, Mike Malone, Coach Malone.
There you go.
Give me some energy
Come on,
right here.
Let's go.
All right. 3, 2.
Bam! I like it.
I need to practice.
Yeah, the Hawks. They went and got Jonathan Kuminga. They got C.J. McCollum. They're the most athletic team in the NBA.
Oh, this is the chocolate. Yeah, this is chocolate back in
No. This is Magic City.
Oh, Magic City.
Yeah, that's Magic
Yeah, this
City.
is Magic City.
Home of the
City.
win. Never heard
Not
all that.
ESPN
But look,
after
Quinn Snyder, all that, I love it. Tonight, where you at, girl? I need you. No,
Let's try it again.
Right here. I'm sorry.
Bam!
Put it up
There
there.
you go.
Thank you, both.
Boston, there it is.
Vucevic in the Beantown. You know why? Jaylen Brown made them make this move. He's the best two-way player in the game. Everybody thought that they was going to be tanking, and all of a sudden they looking like a real threat in the Eastern Conference, and it fits Joe Mazzulla's system. DG.
Again, one more time with it.
I'm lying.
Kenny, big dog.
I'd have to throw you through the screen. Let me throw you through the screen.
You're supposed to say bam. James Harden. James Harden. Hey, you know why? Because he's averaging 25. He's one of the best facilitators in the game. And when bigs play alongside him, they have career years. Zubac, Clint Capella, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen are going to benefit from playing alongside James Harden. at number 1.
Let's go, Perk.
Actually, missed my shirt a little bit. Bam! Put it up there. The Knicks.
Ooh.
The Knicks won. You know why they won?
No Giannis
Because no Giannis movement. Right? So that lets them go out there and audition because they have the complete roster right now. They didn't have to make a swing for Giannis. They could go win the East, make it to the promised land. If they don't make it, then they can make a move for Giannis this offseason.
Shout out to Jose Alvarado. Christ the King kid in the building. Back in the city.
Lists we've ever seen, but Perk, we got there some way, somehow. All right, it's time now for the Future Spotlight. It's brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. So, Mr. DG, let's take a look at the West here. You're sticking with the Thunder to win?
All these trades happen. I'm sticking with OKC.
All right,
Shea's out right now, but once he comes back, they're going to be back where they need to be.
All right, we see Perk on the Pistons.
Do what we do. Notice I didn't say do what we do best, because sometimes it's bad. But winners and losers from the trade deadline. We'll get you teams that won and lost. But first, let's grade individual trades. Brad Botkin, the Warriors got Kristaps Porzingis by shipping out Jonathan Kuminga, who they didn't even play.
I'm grading this from the perspective of
who won and who lost.
I think the Hawks won this trade. I'm a Jonathan Kuminga believer, especially in a system that is more suited to his abilities and the way that he likes to play. The movement-based system in Golden State did not suit him. And so I think getting upside on him with a team option on his contract next year, they don't even have to keep him if they don't want him. And Porzingis wasn't playing for them anyway. So I think the Hawks won that trade.
All right, Ashley, you get the next one here. We're talking about Anthony Davis. The Wizards get him. The Mavericks get rid of him. Instead, they get Chris Middleton, Marvin Bagley, the third winner and loser of this trade.
I'd have to give it to the Wizards because they got an all-star who, when healthy, is a phenomenal player for virtually nothing. The real question mark is, will he play full season and what that even looks like? But if we're going to talk about the overarching reason why the Mavericks are even in this situation, can't possibly give them the title as winner. So I would take the Washington Wizards.
But a win to just close the book maybe on the Luka
a win in that
trade
aspect.
fiasco.
For sure.
Handshake.
Yeah.
All right, Brad, Ashley, winner and loser here with the Cavs taking a chance here and getting James Harden as they sit fourth in the East.
Oh, no. I'd have to go Clippers in this situation. I don't know if I'm buying the James Harden, Donovan Mitchell duo just yet. I'm not a firm believer that this is going to be a championship team. Maybe when LeBron comes, we'd be having a different conversation. But I think the Clippers put themselves in a good position to prepare for their future, whatever that future ultimately looks like. And Darius Garland, when healthy, is 10 years younger than James Harden, and I think that's not something you can ignore.
Okay, so we're going Clippers as winners there?
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one. Brad, this is for you. The Bulls made some interesting moves in this one, including sending Vooch to the Celtics.
Okay, so I think the Celtics win this trade. I do sort of like this from the Bulls are stockpiling guards. But I like the Celtics in this trade because it got them on the path. And I'm going to have to check the numbers when we get done here, but they were on the path to getting beneath the tax, which is nerd reasons for being excited about this, but they have to get under the tax this year and next to stop the repeater clock, which is a big deal. And Vucevic is a positional need for them. They, all due respect to Keita, they and Luka Garza, they need, if they're going to make a push, which I believe they can, even if Jason Tatum doesn't come back, they needed a big man. They positionally fill that. I'll give the Celtics the win here.
Okay, Bulls also made this trade. They sent Kobe White and Mike Conley Jr. to the Hornets for Colin Sexton. They also got 3 first-round picks. Who's your winner of this one?
This is to me.
Yep.
Hornets, no question. This is why I'm ultimately going to have the Bulls as a loser. Kobe White is a valuable player. You're talking about a 20-point scorer. And to get him to send back Colin Sexton, who's sort of a worse version, in my opinion, of Kobe White, I just think that the Bulls have sort of fumbled. They've had all these guys in terms of DeMar DeRozan and Alex Caruso and Vooch and Zach LaVine, and now Kobe White, who should have had some sort of draft value in terms of getting first-round picks back, and they haven't gotten any for any of them. For all those guys, they end up with 1 pick in total. So I think the Hornets getting a good player to a nice, exciting young team in Kobe White,
I like that for them.
Okay, we got one more, Ashley. This is going to go to you. The Jaren Jackson trade here. The Jazz getting him, and of course, including 3 first-round picks to the Grizzlies in return.
I'm actually going to go down the middle with this one for 2 different reasons. I think the Jazz, I'm going to tell you why. I think the Jazz made themselves more competitive in the Western Conference. I'm not allowed to do that. Why can't I go down the middle?
Noah says there has to be a winner, there has to be a loser.
I want you to know that Chris is making up this rule. Noah has not said anything.
Okay, I'm going down the middle.
Chris.
I do think that Utah made themselves more competitive in a Western Conference. Right now, they're sitting at 13th. This for sure could possibly be a play-in or playoff team. And I think that's what the Jazz have been looking for post the Donovan Mitchell situation. They've really been struggling for relevancy. And I think the Grizzlies have put themselves in a good position to rebuild post that trio, that foursome of players who are now elsewhere, minus John Morant, who I still think will be moved in the offseason.
I'm with Ashley. That's a tough one to say win or lose. That's a truly mutually beneficial deal.
Could be a win-win. Okay, fine. I'll take it. Whatever. How about winners and losers for teams
he just likes chaos
specifically?
Is what he likes.
Ashley, you just said that the Jazz were the winner of that specific trade. Why are they your winner here at the deadline as well?
I just think the Jazz put themselves in a position to be slightly more competitive. They're a team that's been struggling to find where they fit in the West. So after losing Donovan Mitchell, even with Donovan Mitchell, they've never been able to get over particular humps. And I think that Jaren Jackson and that entire team that they're going to have next season, this is not going to be a championship contender by any means, but you're going to see a way more competitive Utah Jazz team. And look, some people are going to say the 3 picks was a little bit much, but you're playing in Utah. You got to spend a little cash and a little bit of assets to get people to come there. And I just think the Jazz put themselves in a good position to be relevant somewhat again in the Western Conference.
All right, so the Jazz, your winners. Brad, who do you got?
Okay. So my winners are definitely the Pacers with the last-second move on Zubac. Unbelievable. They were really smart. Nobody liked Miles Turner getting let go after they make the run to Game 7 of the Finals, and the Pacers said, you know what? We're not going to get hung up on recent results. We know this is going to be a gap year. We're not going to overpay and go into the tax. They let the Bucks do the desperate thing. And they go out, and a year later, they replace him with a better player. Doesn't bring the stretch the floor capabilities that Miles Turner did, but when they get Tyrese Halliburton back, and they've got Pascal Siakam, an all-star this year, and now Zubac comes in, and all those wings, and Nesmith and McConnell and Nembhard, that is going to be arguably the favorite in the East next year, right up there with Boston when they get Tatum back. I think phenomenal. I think Zubac is one of the 3 or 4 players in the league that people who don't follow the league have no idea how good he is. No idea how good he is. He's one of the most under-the-radar, impactful players for people who don't, watch League Pass every night.
When this trade came down, I thought Brad was he was tired, and I just realized his eyes were lighting up like Christmas. He was
it goes to show what I'm saying about people don't realize. I mean, the first thing that happened when we went upstairs, everyone's like, "How do you pronounce this guy's name?"
Yeah.
This isn't this guy. This is a really good player. So learn his name.
Ivica
you're going to be saying it in the playoffs next year.
All right, Ashley, who's wearing the L for the trade deadline?
It's got to be Golden State. And look, they got rid of Kuminga, which I'm sure Steve Kerr.
Brad, are you even paying attention?
Are you which I'm sure that Steve
Unfortunately,
Kerr,
I don't disagree. So.
I'm sure Steve Kerr is thrilled about that. For whatever reason, they could not figure out how to make it work. But I still have to give it to the Warriors because Porzingis is such a what if. It's such a gamble to take. And yes, they had to move Kuminga, but to move him for Porzingis, who this is, I think he is great when healthy, but time and time again, several different teams, it's just never the case. And to bet so much, not so much, but to put faith in a player who doesn't really give you much to put faith in, I just don't see what they saw. I don't see what the appeal is. I just don't get it.
It's very theoretical.
Yeah.
Very theoretical. This is interesting to me because we just talked about waiting too long to do things with, say, Chicago is going to be my loser. And the reason is they waited so long to move on all these guys, from Caruso to DeRozan to Levine, and they do it with Kobe White and Vooch, and they've ended up with 1 first-round pick for all those guys who at one point in time had really big value on the market. And they waited too long on all of them and end up getting a total of 1 first-round pick for all those guys. So I look at, just like Dallas dealing Davis, when that's really an extension of the Luka trade, I look at the full context of these deals. And from the Warriors' standpoint, Jonathan Kuminga had a bunch of value a while back, but Joe Lacob was so stuck on that was his pick. He's going to be the next guy to lead in the post-Curry era, and they stuck with him too long. They did the same thing with James Wiseman. He had value. They didn't trade him until his value was gone. So in terms of the Warriors, where they stood right now, Porzingis was probably the best they could get for him. But there was a point in time where Kuminga had more value than he has right now, and they drove that value into the ground by not playing him, diminishing his value, and then you have to go out and take a chance on a guy who's played 14 games for you.
You guys have suggested that we learned some things from last year, or maybe we're scared away by some things for last year, like the Luka trade. And take a look at this from The Athletic and Fred Katz, who said something suggested to me by a front office person, and he put this on X. One reason why we saw a lot of those Tuesday, Wednesday trades this year is because 3 guys having issues with their physicals at the trade deadline last year freaked everything out. Remember the Mark Williams thing? Is that a reason why we saw the bigger names moved earlier in the week and not today?
Could have been.
It's a possibility for sure.
Yeah, it could have been. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to have, you want some time to do your due diligence in that regard. So that's an interesting angle. Because you're right, we did see some of the bigger deals start earlier this year. It always interested me why that took, you can do these deals at why do they have to happen at 2:58? It's always interesting
for the drama. But yeah,
it's like maybe they are in on it. Like Silver's calling it in. Like we need as much drama as possible.
Yeah, but that Mark Williams situation was crazy. So I think that
he's been really good in Phoenix.
Yeah, he has. He's figured it out. But I think that the NBA learns. For people who say that they don't, they learn from one another. And I think it's also, we've been talking about it. You're not going to see teams make Luka type trades like that. Kind of shook everybody, the entire league, to their core, seeing not only what they did in trading Luka, but now seeing what the end result of that is a year later with trading Anthony Davis to the Washington Wizards. I think you're seeing people, or teams, I should say, front offices being smarter, not being reactive. And I think that Luka situation really changed the landscape of the trade market.
I talked to an agent a couple of days ago, not an NBA agent, it's a different sport, but just said sort of like industry-wide, that really shook up the idea of not canvassing as wide of suitors as you can. Because with the Luka trade, the biggest part of that was how pathetic the return was.
Yeah.
In terms of, it wasn't just, yes, it shook everyone up that a player.
And that nobody knew it was happening.
Even if they didn't, that teams weren't called.
Okay, so that's what everybody's scared of.
Yeah.
That's what this agent was saying to me. He's like, if we're going to do this, if we're going to move off a player like this, we cannot do this in a half-hearted way and not open up at least the biggest bidding war possible, which I think certainly factors into the Bucks holding on to Giannis, because it's one thing to trade Luka. It's quite another to only tell two or three teams about it and not get the biggest package possible.
Well, that'll be the #1 story of the offseason. Giannis Antetokounmpo with 1 year left on his contract before that player option. Where he might end up, Ashley thinks it could be in Miami. Brad says, hey, might be another place in Florida, the Orlando Magic. Here are the notable names.
We're laughing now. Watch it happen.
Ahead of the deadline. But we'll get back to actual on-the-court action on the other side, because now